Hello, trading is closed on September 29th. My call yesterday said if we gapped down at today's open, we had a good shot at hitting the MEJT target of 2154.91. But if we gapped up, that my carefully wrought analysis was in danger of failing. Well, it's a good thing for me that we gapped down. Here's your target. Resistance, support. It's important to know that unlike other systems, most systems require action when a target prints. MEJT gets the most favorable risk-reward ratios when the target doesn't print immediately and is far away because it takes a big move to get to the target. What happened here is you have a wall, a hole in the wall gap. We have the common pattern. This is a very common pattern, by the way, that usually we fill the gap, go over the high of the wall within a day or so, and that's resistance. And if you look here, we just went over the high. Of course, resistance doesn't have to stop there. It doesn't preclude us from dropping first and then recovering. You don't know. At least you know that's a resistance area. During the day, MEJT said in the afternoon, ultimately higher and lower prices would print. They did. This move was marked as a false move, which is helpful when you're collapsing. Usually buy and sells, ultimate buy and sells in the same pattern, leads to wishy-washy trade. Early on in the morning, we had an ultimate buy. The white dot says that we got the minimum. We don't have to get more than the minimum, but usually we do. In this case, that would require us trading really at over 2172. Well, there's no new MEJT target for tomorrow. So what's the call? I have a number of reasons for thinking this low is going to hold. First of all, this is a pattern that usually closes near the day's low. When you hit a new high, drop all day, and can't hold on to any of these lows, it's a positive pattern unless you gap down and promptly take out this low. If we take out this low here, all the analysis I'm going to give falls apart, and if it falls, it should fall early. If it doesn't fall early, we could have a rally and possibly a good one. This target here is a price target of the high of the year and of the low of the year based on somebody else's work. It also isn't hard to count 5 waves down. I only count 2 waves up, so you'd anticipate one more wave up that might be comparable to this one. Here's what I think's going on. Here's your prior consolidation. You take your Fibonacci target and you get this low here. This low is a 2B bottom. It's a false bottom which is quickly reversed. You even took out this high in a straight line. It tends to indicate a bottom with staying power. We now have my lovely diamond on stilts pattern. Here's your stilt, and half a diamond's enough. And if you want to get a target, you can take any one of these legs. Let's take the shortest one, which is from here to here. Gives us a target of 2168, 2169, which takes us right to the origin of the left stilt, which is a resistance level. And there's a different way you could look at this. If that's A and that's B, and you've got C equal to A, you could get a straight line move up. To about 2167, kind of close. And finally, there's one more way to read the pattern. if that's still a stilt, and this here is a diamond, this whole thing, and if we get an ABC, we're going to have an inverted diamond on stilts. So if we get a strong gap up, even though futures are now down, we'll have an inverted diamond on stilts pattern. And you can use, if it'll let me do it, you can use the same methodology and the same thing to take any one of any low and any high and get about 2168 and change. I'd like to see us go perhaps slightly higher to about 2169 and change, but somewhere in that area I would anticipate strong resistance. So the call for tomorrow, if this low holds, and I have reasons for believing it will, but if this low holds, we should see higher prices. And even though this pattern doesn't have to go to completion, we have the potential for a stilt-like move up, hitting about 2168, 2169, and encountering resistance at that point. The long-term pattern remains the same. We looked for much lower prices, and one of these days I'm going to call for a rally and get my head handed to me. I'm hoping this isn't one of them. That's the call for tomorrow.